Welcome back, everybody. Today, the National Weather Service shared what caused all the damage and extended power outages for many Austinites during yesterday's storms. Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannin is here to talk to us about the reasons behind the storm and what they said is to blame here.
Yeah, so I know you've already covered it a little bit, that long track microburst, and here's some of those specifics about that, and then I'll get into how these form anyway. So this is a long track microburst because those winds that came down to the ground fanned out for 10 miles. This is fairly long as far as microbursts go. The path width, meaning the width of the strongest winds from side to side, between about a mile and 2.5 miles. Tell you, anything wider than 2.5 miles is actually known as a macro burst. So there's two types of downburst wind events in this regard, and this was a microburst because the width was 2.5 miles or less. Estimated peak winds 65 to 85 miles per hour, and we did get some confirmed gusts at Austin-Bergstrom International Airport of 77 miles per hour, and reports of downed trees and property damage. And there were also some tree damage just from the hail alone, but that was separate from this microburst. So how do microbursts form? Well, we have our supercell thunderstorm, which we had yesterday. We tracked it from San Saba and Lampasas counties through Burnett County into Williamson, Travis, and eventually Bastrop County. But if you get some dry air coming in on the sides of the storm, it starts to dry out some of the rain passing through the storm. And as that air dries out, as it dries out and evaporates, it helps cool the air around it. Think of it as when you have sweat on your skin. As that sweat evaporates off your skin, it cools, right? Except when you've got cool air higher up, it wants to sink and fall. Just like warm air rises, cool air sinks. So when that happens very rapidly, that cool air falls and it accelerates down to the ground. Then it hits the ground and fans out in all different directions, unlike a tornado, which has the damage in sort of a rotating path. This is more just from a point and out that you get those downburst winds. And that's what we had here yesterday. The air hits the ground, forced outward. Winds from microbursts can get up to 150 miles per hour, but yesterday, not quite that strength, thankfully. By the way, on KXAN.com, our meteorologist Tommy House put together a blog explaining what the National Weather Service found, and you can read that there. It's doing pretty well on the homepage, so it should be fairly easy to find. All right, let's take you out to the Covington Cellars in High, where we are all quiet, not just in western Blanco County, but across central Texas for the time being. Just some scattered clouds, and sunshine is out, helping to dry things out and keep things calm as crews continue to clean up and try and get the power back on. But there is another cluster of severe weather developing due west and also northwest of us, even into portions of New Mexico. The general idea here is that these storms are going to be tracking southeast into central Texas later tonight. There's already a lot of counties to our west and northwest under severe thunderstorm watches. This watch goes until 11 p.m., so we don't expect storms to get into central Texas until after 11 o'clock or midnight. You can see the big picture here is that this cluster of storms forms and then it starts to dive southeast. This is where it is at midnight, approaching the northwestern hill country, and then it continues to dive southeast through the area. Still some question marks about how far east the potential for severe weather goes, whether it manages to make it east of 35 or whether it becomes more of a hill country severe weather threat. But either way, there's a severe weather risk here in central Texas tonight. It just is all about how far east that threat may be able to make it. This is 4 o'clock in the morning, so these storms could wake you up in the middle of the night with large hail, damaging wind, a low tornado risk, and also a flash flooding concern. But the heaviest, most widespread of the rain is out here early in the morning, and then just a few lingering morning showers, followed by some limited breaks of afternoon sun here tomorrow afternoon. So most of the rain comes overnight. Right now, our overnight rainfall coverage expectations are at least 60% of central Texas getting rain, especially favoring the hill country. Some severe storms possible, overnight lows of 71. a 2 out of 5 severe weather risk for most of us, including the metro and most of the hill country, but that does jump up to a 3 out of 5 or an enhanced severe weather risk for parts of the northwestern hill country. So large to very large hail, 1 to 3 inches in diameter, is a possibility, although we're currently a little more concerned about wind gusts with this, 60 to 80 miles per hour. Localized flash flooding, just can't rule out a tornado in this particular setup. We think tomorrow morning, some leftover rain and storms ending early. Clouds giving way to limited sunshine and a high of 86. Much quieter weather this weekend, just low 10% rain chances both days. Sun and clouds Saturday, more sun on Sunday, should push us into the mid-90s. Here's a look at our first warning weather 7-day forecast. Mid-90s again on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Rain chances start creeping up by the end of next week. We'll be right back.